I can say in the last 10 minutes we've gone from really nothing, and then we got pelted with a ton of hail here. I can show you a little bit about what I'm talking about, some of that hail.
Public works crews expect to be needed now through Sunday, from rain to changing temperatures to freezing rain, sleet, and snow.
When you got 85 people you got to put out there, there are going to be points where we simply have to go back to a skeleton crew. And that's what I don't think the public sees that.
They say the snow, ice, and wind this storm could bring can be a recipe for power outages. That's because trees could fall on lines or ice and snow could weigh them down. Even though it's April, WEC Energy Group is ready for this winter-type storm. But it's hard to predict where the possible outages will take place, so it's very helpful if customers report them.
So round number 1 is ongoing right now, continues overnight, and then round number 2 moves in tomorrow night. On Pinpoint Digital Doppler, seeing primarily rain south of Highway 10, and then kind of a wintry mix between US 10 and Highway 29.
Bill, we haven't seen any snow yet, but it is wet out here. Lots of rain coming down, and it is rather windy too. Most of the roads, at least in my immediate vicinity, seem to be okay as traffic is moving along, but the big question is for how much longer tonight. With a mix of rain and sleet, drivers across the Fox Valley kept a close eye on the road, even though the Outagamie County Highway Department remains mostly on standby, awaiting the more severe stuff. Once it does hit, there's a plan in place.
The strategy will be, right away, get out on Highway 41, 441 and the state highways and make sure that they are, put some salt down, put some brine down, and make sure they're, passable.
Dory says students were shocked to find out their Academy Ball date had been moved up because of the upcoming storm.
This weather is crazy. I can't believe that it's happening. Who would think in April that we would have this? It's just nuts. We haven't had this ever for any of our Academy Balls in the past.
Administrators at Notre Dame Academy say they expect around 330 students to be at tonight's Academy Ball. They say only a handful of students say they couldn't make it.
And then here's the result. It is what it is. It's the luck of the draw. And now we have to turn around and repair it.
Just last week, this view was hard for Greg Ludwig to take in,
until it pushed straight through.
as ice shoves crashed through the window of this cottage in the town of Union, causing thousands of dollars in damage.
It traveled a long way it came.
Now he's worried it might happen again, even after clearing out as much ice as possible this week.
And this is video of how this gusty, snowy mist only got worse as the wind picked up in Green Bay. Our Action 2 News producer Kieran shot this from her porch less than an hour ago. Meanwhile, Austin Straubel Airport isn't faring any better either. A viewer flying out this morning says there's a number of delays and cancellations as crews work to plow the runways so planes can safely take off and land. Highway crews across northeast Wisconsin have been out in full force overnight into this morning as well, working to keep up.
And right now we're standing in Lambeau Field, but who would have guessed that April at Lambeau Field would include 15.2 inches of snow and snow piles as far as the eye can see. Now it's very windy here at Lambeau Field. It was very windy earlier today when we were at Austin Straubel International Airport. Wind gust reports over the last hour have been around 45 miles per hour. Now that's causing some whiteout conditions that we've noticed on the roads while we've been driving around town. We've also noticed the road conditions are not really improving. The plows have been out, but the roads are still very snow covered. In some cases, there's also still a layer of ice. Yesterday, we saw some melting that refroze overnight as the temperatures dropped down, and now we're seeing it freeze again, and then we have that layer of blowing snow over it, especially if you're in some of those rural conditions or even on the highways. We're noticing a lot of blowing and drifting on the area roads. Just stay safe, stay inside across northeastern Wisconsin today.
And as I was going to the stories, my vehicle got stuck twice. All across Green Bay and northeast Wisconsin, people are facing these type of issues and worse.
We couldn't keep track of all the vehicles stuck on the side of the road, but plenty of good Samaritans passing by were willing and able to help.
Kevin and I were out just driving around, making sure everybody's safe. We're pulling people out, helping with a shovel, throwing our hazards on, again, just being out there and taking care of our community.
Beyond the dozens of vehicles snowed in, 3 area buildings had roof collapses due to the snow accumulations.
We haven't seen snow amounts in this in years, and then on top of that with the heavy moisture content, and any kind of structural issue is only going to be multiplied with what's going on.
Namely the Econo Lodge in Green Bay, where the roof caved in over the pool. No one was injured, but 65 people were relocated to another hotel. After that, a building in a Schwabenon's business park faced another collapse, where responders tell us all that's left to do now is wait for it to fall.
Whether you're a business owner or even residential owners, don't be going up in the roofs. The roofs have got a tremendous amount of weight on them because of the water, freezing water, and then with the huge accumulation of snow.
And this is the snow around Shawano High School, where nearly 30 inches of snow fell.
Manager Brian Jinks tells me there was an 8-foot snowdrift on top of their roof. Jinks says this weekend was one of the worst snowstorms he's seen since the store opened almost 10 years ago.
We've had drifts up there before, but we've never had this much wet snow at one time. It's just the weight of it caved it in.
Sure, you get 6 feet of snow, you imagine trying to shovel it all, that's all on top of your roof. Every single shovelful you throw off is that much weight on top of a roof. So it can be a lot, it can be a really lot, especially with as heavy as it is this time. It's not like light blowing snow.
Roofing professionals say flat roofs can't handle as much snow as slanted roofs.
If you have a pretty good pitch on your roof, normally the snow is going to blow off, and normally it's strong enough to support it. But if you have a long, flat area that is holding on to a lot of snow, that's where you could get snagging.
There's a lot of steel and structure damage that's going to have to be fixed. But yeah, we can definitely get them in the roofing.
Culbertson advises home and business owners never go up on their roof to clean snow off. He also warns of melting snow on the roof causing leaks.
Yeah, I mean, especially as when it starts to warm up here, if your gutters are clogged, and you get all that snow on the roof, all of a sudden it starts backing up into your house, backing up into the roofs. You know, that should have been something you should have looked at earlier before winter hit, that you should have made sure your gutters are clean.
Culbertson says, again, the one thing to remember is to never go up on your roof to try to get that snow off. If you do have tricky areas where you do need to get that snow off, please contact a professional. Reporting in Howard, Sharon Bajenda, Action 2 News.
Thanks, Sharon. Plows are making a difference on the state's major highways. This is a look at the roads courtesy of the Wisconsin DOT traffic cameras. There are no major backups at this time, as many school districts, businesses, and organizations closed today. We have that full list for you at WBAY.com.
Just after midnight Saturday morning, Alyssa Champagne knew it was time.
I just remember looking outside. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we're going to leave right now?
The two set off in whiteout conditions. Jason white-knuckle driving the 50 miles from Pound to St. Mary's Hospital in Green Bay.
We fishtailedone time, maybe got out of the tracks a little bit because the plows had not gone through yet on the highway.
There was like no visibility. You know, we're talking like 5 feet in front of you is all that you could see.
I was getting a little nervous. I know, probably more nervous than he's ever seen me, because I'm like, slow down, slow down. He's already going 25, and I kept telling him, slow down.
What should have taken 45 minutes took twice that.
It seemed like it took forever. Yeah, it was a long, long trek. And the hospital even called us at one point because they were concerned that we hadn't arrived yet.
Yeah.
And they actually had someone shoveling for us just to get into the parking lot.
At 8:52 Saturday night, they welcomed Askren Howard Champagne to make their family of 5.
And it's kind of cool that our little son Askren is now another Blizzard baby, repeating history almost 30 years later at the same hospital, driving from the same town of Pound.
Deja vu for sure, yeah.
Alyssa's mom and dad braved a similar journey to the hospital in December of 1990 when her brother Jameson was born.
I can feel their worries and their pain because I remember those days. It took us an hour and a half from De Pere to St. Mary's, if you can believe it.
And now her daughter, Shirley, can.
It's snowbanks like this one that have become a very common sight in northeast Wisconsin. And with temperatures reaching above freezing this week, they may not be around for long, raising concerns about flooding.
Well, when we started the weekend, the concern was very low.
But that concern increased as the numbers came in.
We've had 2 to 4 inches of precipitation. That's rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow.
The National Weather Service says there's potential for flooding as the snow melts and mostly runs off into rivers. But the chances are smaller since water levels in rivers are lower than normal for this time of year.
Travel along Highway 10 through Waupaca County is moving just fine following the weekend storm. The roadway is a bit wet, but it's no longer snow covered.
For US Highway 10, we were out since about 6:30 Friday evening, and they're still there today, so we've never taken a break.
Crews in Waupaca County have been working nearly round the clock since the storm started to hit.
I've never experienced something so great on one event.
This historic storm and its aftermath have not only been a pain for those snowed in, but plows have struggled to get around too.
If you get off the road, you're going down. It's not too solid underneath there, so that's the hardest part, is figuring out where the road's at when there's 2 feet of snow over it.
With state roads like Highway 10 clear and county roads improving, crews are now turning their focus to municipal roads like this one, hoping to get at least one pass completed today.
So as you can see, the roof here at Econo Lodge, it's still caved in. Now, this just happened yesterday morning, and luckily nobody was hurt, but they did have to relocate more than 60 people. Roofing professionals tell me that these snow drifts can cause stress to rooftops, especially when it's that wet, heavy kind we've had over the weekend.
Some good reminders tonight if you are continuing to dig out from this weekend snow. For safety, you should check the vent pipes and energy meters on the side of your home. These photos show how drifting snow can plug the vents, which can cause carbon monoxide to fill your home. Another reminder to help clear out your local fire hydrant that may have become buried. This photo shows how your fire department would like the hydrant cleared, with at least a 3-foot perimeter around the hydrant and a clear path to the street. While many public works departments are working to clear out many streets and hydrants, your assistance can help them save time, possibly a life.
Many people living at the Mission Village apartments in Menasha still have big drifts blocking their driveway, leaving them unable to get in and out. Judy Allenstein is among those feeling trapped.
Oh, it's horrible. My son at least shoveled that path for me. And then did you see behind my house? I mean, I understand it was a blizzard. That's very understandable. But they should have been here all 3 days doing at least a little bit at a time.
Action 2 News has been here before. In December of 2015, residents also contacted us with concerns about snow removal not taking place right away after a major storm. I did speak to the property manager. She did not wish to go on camera, but told us there is an equipment failure with the plow company contracted to do the site. As a result, they've had to rely on other options. For now, they're asking residents to be patient, but those that live there say they're concerned.
Well, the thing I worry about is if someone needed an ambulance in here, because we're all senior citizens. They would have never gotten in.
We've had nurses that have to come in here daily to take care of some of the residents in here. They couldn't get in. They had to walk in from the road, from the main entrance. Nurses, I mean, they're here to help you, and they can't get in here.
Reporting in Menasha, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.
When there's this much snow in April, it's the little things that matter. Like your snowblower starting up. For Green Bay resident Scott Kelsey, it's also seeing sidewalks cleared in front of houses.
I had to walk on the street the whole way.
Because his van was snowed in, Kelsey walked to and from work this weekend, most of the time having to take the street.
A little nerve-wracking, but not too bad because fortunately there weren't a lot of people on the roads. Just had to make sure that I kept an eye out and made sure that nobody was coming up behind me.
Knowing what it's like and who usually walks through his area.
There's a lot of people from Bellin and St. Vincent that would generally walk through here.
Kelsey made his sidewalks a priority this weekend, even after his shift.
Saturday night, after I got done with work, I was out here at about midnight just trying to make sure that there was a path cleared down the sidewalk.
Green Bay City Ordinance says homeowners should have their sidewalks cleared within 24 hours of the end of the snow event. But Public Works Director Steve Grenier says he doesn't have the staff to fully enforce it because his crews have been working around the clock since Friday.
16 on, 4 off.
Clearing the roads.
We will be responding to complaints, but we're asking folks to, have a little compassion on your neighbor. We are not going to be aggressively enforcing the ordinance for this event. we're asking folks, get out and get on the sidewalks as quickly as you can.
Grenier is also asking homeowners to help his crews out by removing snow around fire hydrants and inlets.
Shovel that inlet, keep it open, so that way when we do have melting, that water has a place to go.
Unfortunately, this snow isn't going away anytime soon.
This has been a historic event. It's going to take several days before we're back to normal.
But Kelsey says we can all do a little to help, and that starts with our shovels and our snow blowers.
Stay on top of it if you can. If you can't, just get it done as soon as possible.
In Green Bay, Brittany Schmidt, Action 2 News.